to the ArmChair GM podcast.
Well, the Flames have dropped a couple games in a row here to bad teams, which is not surprising to anybody who's watched the Flames over the past 40 years. But here they are doing that some more. And honestly, I think the main kind of gist of the last couple games has been you can't really win a game if you're on the penalty kill for the entire time. And it's not even that the refs are calling bad things, or it's just the Flames are being caught flat-footed and behind the play and reaching in and taking dumb trips and dumb high sticking calls and all that type of stuff. Like against they took 9 minors against Ottawa. That's
that's too many.
That's
way too many. And I mean, there's a couple that I don't feel were good penalties to call.
Yeah.
Can they be called? Yes. But there was, and then obviously, everybody's pretty much up in arms with that overtime.
Too many men.
Too many men call on. That was, I don't know, man.
That one I can agree. That one was kind of like, was there too many men? Probably, but did it like affect the play, or was it extended, or no? It wasn't, right? It was just guys changing. I think they need to look at that rule again, because
I think one thing in their defense, we did have a guy that came back on defense quickly because he did have that advantage that he shouldn't have been on the ice yet, right? So he came back, defended, and we ended up taking the puck away from them, and he shouldn't have been in that position to be able to do that. So in that aspect of it, the call was probably correct. I still don't think in that situation it should have been called.
Fair enough. I don't know. To me, a call is a call, and it shouldn't matter to the situation. Right? Like, it gets frustrating to me. Not calling something if you see it is managing the game. Just like calling something you don't see is managing the game. If you're calling what's there and what's in front of you as a ref, then I feel like you're just calling the game and you're not affecting the outcome. Whereas, in the past, we've had every team has lots of games where the refs, are like, oh, this team's way ahead, we're going to give them a couple penalties, and then they like go out and look for it. I don't think that's really happened to the Flames over the last couple games. And I mean, they spent, I think, about half of the first period on the PK against the Wings yesterday, and it just kills rhythm, and you can't get your power play guys out there. You can't get some of your top players out there because your penalty killers look get all the time, right? Which is good for them, I guess, but hard to win a game.
Yeah, according to the stats, he had 8 minutes in penalties against the Wings, 20 minutes in penalties against the Senators, which is just a recipe for a disaster. You cannot win games with that many penalties.
Yeah.
Ever. Like that was stupid.
Absolutely. And like when that Wings game started, I came into it like a minute late, and I turned it on, and we were already on the PK. And then within 5 minutes after that, we were on a 5-on-3 PK. It's like, how bad is this? Yeah. It's just like snowballing.
Yeah, I mean, they cleaned it up after 10 minutes into the first, right? They took their third penalty of the game at essentially at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
That interference call that Huberdeau took, I wasn't a fan of that call at all, but I mean, it's still something I suppose you can call. I mean, the guy went down. Like, if this is what a professional hockey player is nowadays as far as stability on their skates, then they should probably just pack in the league. It was like a faint touch,
Well, it's
and
the
the guy
same as
nailed it in.
the against the Senators with the Giroux. We were talked about this on the post game show. If you guys haven't heard, we did a post game show for the Senators game. Check that one out. But Giroux was out on a partial break, and Mackenzie Weegar kind of did a chop block type spear to
Yeah,
get.
which
He like barely touched him, and Giroux dived. And for once, they actually called both players. They don't do that enough because yes, that was absolutely a penalty. Should Giroux have fallen over? No. So they called both, and that was good. I think.
did they call both?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm fairly sure they called both.
No, they did. They did not call both.
Oh, I thought they did.
Yeah, no, it was a power play. Yeah, yeah. I think I was what you. I think you said that during the live too, and I was gonna question you about that because yeah, no, it was definitely not a case where it was four skaters a team. It was a penalty.
Oh, you are correct. Huh.
The
For some reason, I thought they took Giroux too, but like he shouldn't.
yeah,
Like Giroux would definitely dive there.
yeah. I've always had a problem with that whole scenario, right? The embellishment or the dive. Either the penalty happened or they don't, right? Obviously, you can do both. If they do both, then I don't think there's a penalty. Period. I don't think you should give both people a penalty for the embellishment and the actual infraction,
Hmm.
because if the
Right.
infraction needed embellishment to be a penalty, then it wasn't a penalty to begin with, in my opinion. I
I
think I think
suppose.
calling them both is stupid. It's either one or none, in my opinion.
Hmm.
If if a person had to you know fall to the ice, then he either went to the ice because of an infraction or he went to the ice on his own accord,
Right. I
right?
see where you're
In my
coming
like,
from there. I don't think I've ever heard you say that before, but
mm,
I see where you're coming from. It makes sense. I mean, I can't really disagree with that, although I do think I think it happens with I don't- I always have to bring it up, but I think it happens with Kadri all the time, where he's hitting the ice because he's a fucking moron, not because
yeah.
the other team did something. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah. He
And
draws penalties, right? But and I'm actually amazed he doesn't get embellishment calls.
oh, me too. Um,
When he draws those penalties, when he first goes down, my initial thought is always, "Fuck, here we go again." And then all of a sudden they blow a penalty on it. It's like, oh, okay, I
yeah,
guess. But
yeah,
yeah, and most of the ones that he draws, in my opinion, are not penalties to begin with.
yeah. If I was a ref and like I know that I have this reputation as a Kadri hater because I'm not a fan of the player, but
Do you have a reputation to be a Kadri hater because you hate Kadri?
pretty much. But the
Okay,
thing
good,
is
good.
like
I'm
if
glad to
I
hear
was a
that now.
ref and it's not because of Kadri, it's not because it's that player, it's because he does embellish all the time. He would
Yeah,
get way more penalties than he does, and he wouldn't even draw half of the penalties that he does
yeah,
because it's that obvious to me as a guy who watches every game, you know,
hmm
that he does that and
yeah.
he does it on purpose and he puts himself in positions to dive all the
Yeah.
time. And it's frustrating to watch.
It really is frustrating to watch. I don't like that from a professional athlete.
Yeah.
You know, either there's an infraction or there's not. Like in my opinion, like this constant diving from the man needs to come to an end.
Hmm.
There's a couple of things about him that I think needs to come to an end. One of which being employed by the Calgary Flames, but that's neither here nor there because it's likely not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because we got too much of a contract there to. He's got what 3 more years after this?
Or this is year 3 of 7, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Gross. Hey,
It's tough. It's tough. But on the
but
bright
you're
side,
supposed to
even
give me good news. You're supposed to
sorry,
give
yeah,
me some sort of good news here, man.
yeah. On the bright side, it looks like we're still getting points in the standings
Mhm.
here and there, and the wins that we are racking up and the points that we are getting are largely on the backs of the young players, whether it be Zeri and Coronado or Wolf. It's almost always Wolf when he plays, and then when he's not playing, it's Zeri and Coronado, and um, even Vladar. Like I think Vladar has been playing very well this year. Um,
Yes. He stood on his head against Detroit.
mhm.
Like that. We had zero business playing in overtime in that game. We played like absolute garbage for the first 50 minutes.
I couldn't agree more.
Like it was just an unorganized disaster in all three zones. They couldn't
Mhm.
exit the zone. They couldn't figure out who to pass to in the neutral zone. Once we get into the offensive zone, that's where it even got worse, if you can believe it. It was just they had no cohesion whatsoever on all four lines and all three D pairing. It was horrendous.
It was tough to
Like I,
watch,
I
man.
almost I almost turned it off. And I've never done that before. It was probably one of the worst games that I've ever seen the Calgary Flames play damn near a decade. Like it was terrible. Terrible.
And that's
Every
that's
player.
honestly,
The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping for the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. If you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
I agree that was a really bad game. But the thing about this year, which has been really good, there's only been a couple of bad games. Like the Flames have basically played very well for all but 3 games this season.
Mhm.
Um, you know, last year we almost never got to stand on our feet to get up off the couch and stand on our feet for something exciting.
Mhm.
This year, whether it's a wicked Coronado shot, a wicked Wolf save, or Zeri carrying the puck around the zone like he's fucking Mikko Rantanen or something, like it's there's reason for people to get up and get excited again, and it's been really good to see. It's been a while, right? Like the Flames have had a couple of really tough years, and even though we've had a couple of those players for the last couple of years, it's really starting to come together. I know we've just lost a couple games, but I feel like those guys are really starting to come together, and it's just nice to see.
Um, I'm I do agree. I do agree. We've had plenty of reasons to get excited about this season thus far, for sure. I don't think we're anywhere near the standing position that we are without goaltending.
I
The
agree.
games that a lot of the games we've won by 1 point, where goaltending has easily kept out three that should have gone in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's been plenty of times where the goaltending hasn't gotten enough credit this year, even though they have been getting a lot of credit. But I think there's been a couple times where it's been even more egregious than what people are talking about. That said, as far as the excitement, the 3 or 4 times that we've seen Zari try to burst through the D and try and drive to the net, I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. It reminds me way too much of junior hockey, where a player is gonna do it all on his own. It's a one-man show. Watch me go. And I think he would be far more successful if he passed it to a winger on either side of him, because he's always had somebody with him every time he's done this play. If he passed to the winger, then push through when the defenders are now focused on the other guy, and wait for that either rebound or deflection. That's my opinion. I mean, yes, it's exciting to watch him do it. I don't think it's going to be successful for him. I think he's way better at swooping around on going wide on the left side, protecting the puck and doing that shot that he's very well known for. But I
That
think,
was more what I was talking about.
yeah,
I do see
that
what
one
you're
shot he
talking
did the
about
other night.
sometimes,
Hmm.
and I hate to say it, but he kind of gets that from Kadri a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think I said that last night, even in our thread, that like, oh shit, looks like he's been playing with Kadri for too long. He's now turning into a selfish player. I think he would really benefit from just dishing over to the side, burst through, and wait for the play and make it happen. Because he's
yeah,
really
I
damn good
like when he does
when
it
he's
when
up
he's on
close.
the boards. Like you were saying, when he does it when he's on the boards, and then he kind of button hooks and breaks free and drives the net and kind of goes top short side. But last year and even at the beginning of this year, a lot of his success did come from the net front as well. And not always just standing at the net front, but swooping by at the right time, whether it be taking the eyes away from the goalie, distracting defenders, or getting a rebound, or getting a puck that's already on the way to the goal line or stuck on the goal line or whatever, right? I'd like to see him get back to that, and I feel like he would be able to get back to that a lot better if he did what you say, which is like, pop the puck out to Sharangovich or whatever, and then drive the net a little bit, let Sharangovich shoot, and then dig for the rebound, because he's good at that too, right?
He's very good at it.
I do agree.
Yeah, no, he's very good at that. He's very good at being in and around the net. He's got a very quick stick when it comes to rebounds and whatnot. And I think, yeah, it's just something. That was my first thought, because he's done it 3 or 4 times in the last 2 games, and my first thought is like, wow, this is it's way too junior hockey for my liking, right?
It's fair.
He's doing the Kadri where he thinks he can do it all on his own, and it rarely works, right? In the
That's fair.
NHL, the one-man show rarely works unless you're of that caliber, which, I mean, he's very good, but he's not at that caliber yet. He may get there someday, but he's not there yet.
So you were talking about Wolf a minute ago.
Yeah.
Wolf and Vladar. Vladar is much further down this list, but I just looked it up because we were talking about it. Goals saved above expected. I'm not huge on a whole lot of advanced stats, but I do like goals saved above expected. It's one of the ones that I quite enjoy, because I think that what some of the sites actually look at when they give that stat are pretty good. So Dustin Wolf is 11th, but I'm going to say 10th because number 10 is Frederick Anderson, who's only had 4 starts and is injured. So I'm not going to count that.
Yeah, that's weird. I think there needs to be a minimum games played for stats like that.
Yeah. So all of the other guys above Wolf has started 12 games. All of the other guys have started more, except for 2 guys who have started 1 less. I'm gonna see if you can guess which guys, because you'd be surprised. Which are the 9 goalies who aren't Frederick Anderson here, who are higher than Wolf in goal save above expected?
Jeez.
There's one that's like blatantly obvious, and then the rest are kind of surprising.
Like Hellebuck's not in there, right?
Hellebuck's number 3 with 12.1 goals saved above expected.
What's
Wolf
his?
has
What?
6.3.
What's Hellebuck's save percentage?
Wow, this one doesn't even say it. Let me look it up.
So the one issue I have with saved above expectation is who decides what how many there is supposed to save at this point. Like the stat itself doesn't make sense to me.
It's basically high danger. It's basically a high danger type thing. Hellebuck's is 928, which is pretty good.
Mhm. Yeah. Is Allmark in there?
No, Hallmark's terrible this year.
That's true.
So is Swayman, on an unrelated note, but
Yeah, related.
there's one former Flame in here.
Is it Talbot?
Yeah.
He
Number
looked pretty good
7,
last night.
8.3 goals saved above expected.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Where's Soros?
He's number 8 with 8.0
Okay.
goals saved above expected. So you've got 2 of them, 3 of them.
Is Quick in the list?
No, Quick's number 14.
Is he 14? Okay. Who Ottinger?
No. Ottinger
Really?
is, holy shit, where is he? I can't even find him. 16th.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the standings show that as well.
Yeah.
I have him in my fantasy, and it's it hasn't been as good as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
That's what I get for keeping him.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
know. I
happened.
can't think of who else would be in that list as far as above. Like
So you got
bottom all off, right?
so Wolf, and then Anderson, and then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for Buffalo, who's got 7.1, and then Saros, then Talbot, then Joey Decord, who's got 8.6. Logan Thompson
Really?
has 9. Philip Gustafson was the other one I probably would have guessed you could have got because
Right.
Minnesota's been so good.
Yeah.
10.5. And then Hellebuck, and then Karel Vejmelka, which surprises me,
Really?
is 12.4. And number 1 is Lucas Dostal, which is not surprising. It's surprising, like if you were to look at it from the beginning of the season, but
Right.
just knowing how well he's played, he's got 13.2, and he started 14 games.
That is not interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done well.
And the reason I like this stat is because a lot of goalie stats are largely based on how good your defense is combined with how good you make saves, whereas this is like, Dostal and Vemelka and Talbot and Saros are on this list, and all those teams just leak chances and high quality chances all the time, but their goalies are still doing good,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And this stat reflects that.
Yeah, that's fair. I've
That's why I like that.
yeah. Okay. I'll retract my statement.
No, don't retract your statement.
Let me tell you about the excitement of being in the Saddle Dome for Game 7 while Johnny Gaudreau scores the overtime winner against Dallas. If you weren't there, it's probably because you didn't know about Game Time. Game Time has some fantastic features such as Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easy to save money on sports, concerts, comedy events, theater, all sorts of different things. They also offer all-in pricing. They have seat views so you can check your seat before you pay. They have the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, which means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
So, an interesting thing about the Flames, moving on from that.
Yep.
So, we've got like 23 games in 23 games played. Our highest points are 13, and it's two guys. It's Uyghur and Anderson. It's two guys on two different defense pairs who are tied for the most points on the team.
That's hilarious.
And it's 10 less than a point a game. Both of them are pluses, +2 and +3, which is good. But that's crazy. And it's good because they're two of our best players, but it's also bad because you'd want to have, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd like to have Jonathan Huberdeau having 25, 26, 27 points right now. But I think we might as well give up on that. You'd like to have Kadri having a little bit more than 12 points. You know, I think Zeri having 12 points, Coronado having 10 points, Backlund having 10 points. Those are the next few players. Those are kind of like where you would expect. What's that?
I think those are kind of positives, right?
Yeah. You'd expect all those guys to be in and around that area for Backlund and Coleman for the role that they play, and then for Coronado and Zari, kind of like for where they are in their career, and that Coronado's learning the NHL and Zari's being switched to center and having 12 points in 23 games is kind of okay for those guys, but it's not really okay for Kadri or Huberdeau. And Sharon Govich has started playing better, and I feel like these numbers are going to drastically increase, but he's only got 7 points in 16 games.
Yeah, I feel like, obviously he looked shaky coming back from injury, and it took him a bit to get going, which is, it's pretty normal, right? You try to get back, you're trying to get up to speed, you're trying to get to where everybody else is in development for the season, and you fall a bit short. But recently, obviously, he's been putting points on the board, which is great. It's good to see that shot back.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that almost 2 months into the season that Huberdeau would be leading us in goals, I would have called you an idiot.
It is only 7 goals in 23 games, but he's doing it.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. So I obviously would expect, if he said he had 12 points, I would expect that he had 7 assists, right? 5 goals.
Yeah,
Or, I mean,
something
I would probably have closer to 9 assists, to be honest.
yeah. He's had some nice goals, and he's also had some garbage goals. Off of rebounds, and he had that one goal the other night where he looked just like Sean Monahan in the slot with guys draped all over him, just getting the quick one-touch kind of deflection shot. I don't know how you want to call that. It wasn't even a tip. It was more of just a quick shot. But and it looked just like Monahan doing it. And when he gets in there and does that, when he gets into the front of the net, I find he's actually kind of underrated with his net front presence. And I wish he'd do it more often because he's not there very often. But when he does, you notice it.
He's very good in front of the net, which is interesting, right? Because given his career and how good he has been at dictating and moving the puck around and dictating the play, it's really surprising that he can be that effective that close. He is very good at. He's good at shielding the goaltender, and just being in the way and being a nuisance, which is cool. I mean, we've definitely learned over the last little bit just how strong he is on the puck and with the puck, especially when he's up and against the boards. So, I mean, we know he's stable as hell on his feet. And so it kind of makes sense. Obviously, he's playing the position that I would like to see Kadri playing, right? Because that's where I thought he was going to be spending most of his time with the Flames, is in front of the net. But, obviously that's not in the cards, and so it's going to be somebody else. So, I know they don't play on the same line, but it's it's surprising, right? Because that's usually where you want your center.
Yeah, Kadri doesn't do it on the power play either.
No.
Zari is good at that too, but Huberdeau and Zari are, have they been playing on the same line? Yeah, they have. Them with Sharangovich, right?
No, I mean they did, but I think that was split up. It's been all over the map. Like the lines are looking. It needs to go in a blender. I think after the Detroit game, I think the lines are going to get mixed up a bit. They need to do something, because they can't just ride the season on the backs of the goaltending. It's not going to work out.
They can't. Let's get into Kuzmenko. What is your ideal situation? Because he's only got 9 points. He has 1 goal, 9 points, 1 really nice shootout goal in 23 games. And he's been benched a couple times. He's missed he missed almost half the game a few games back, sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing I've always liked about Huska is that he will doghouse a guy for a game, and then he gives the guy a chance the next game. But it's not working for Kuzmenko, right? He keeps getting the chance and failing. So what is it? Line mates? Is it a couple healthy scratches? What is it?
I feel like, because right now he's currently playing with Backlund, right?
Backlund, yeah.
And was Coleman, but I don't think he's playing with Coleman anymore. I think Coronado's there now, right?
Yeah, you're right, because Coleman's up with Zary now.
Right. That's what it is, yeah. I think Kuzmenko would be better suited with somebody that's offensively talented and is a shooter. Now Coronado is both of those things, but he's not so much like he's a shooter when he's driving with the puck. I feel he's better at shooting while he's trying to make the play happen and not receive the pass to shoot. Not like it's Sharangovich, where puck goes off, it gets to him and it's already in the back of the net before he can blink. I think Kuzmenko would be better suited playing with somebody like that. So is that when he's trying to do his little fancy fucking spin arounds that he's been doing this year, which is actually starting to piss me off. He at least
me
has
too.
somebody to get the puck to,
Yeah.
right? Um, he needs to play with somebody that has the ability to get open. Obviously, Backlund's not really that guy. That's not ever been his forte. He's defensive minded. He's gritty. He just plays the game. But I think Kuzmenko and Sharangovich would be a good couple of guys to test out for a little while.
I was
Because,
about to say that
because I think at the end of the day, whether we keep him or trade him, either way, he has to get going so his value becomes more.
absolutely.
And so
Because right
we
now,
just,
like,
yeah,
I'm not sure if
you have
we'd
to get
have
him
to
going.
pay to get rid of him if we retained half,
Mm.
but I feel like right now we wouldn't be getting more than like a 5th or 4th round pick type of thing for him, or another struggling, veteran, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think that's ideal.
No,
I
no,
like
it's not.
your idea with Sharangovich though, because
Mm.
you're right. Like, Kuzmenko wants to make passes. I think he should shoot more. And that
Yep.
little spin move that he does, kind of
Yeah.
not quite in the corner, but close to the corner all the time, and just loses the puck. That's starting to get on my nerves. I wish that he would just kind of either drive the net and shoot, or be more confident to make that pass, because
Mm.
he's not confident right now, and it's showing. It's been really hard
It's
to
ve-
watch.
yeah, it's definitely showing. He's not confident, and it's a shame because he is actually very good at passing. He's very good at shooting. Like he's got a deadly shot.
Yeah,
Just start using it, right?
absolutely.
But I get it, right? Like he's in this funk. He's in his own head. I'm sure he's beating himself up about it currently as we talk, right?
Absolutely.
That's the way athletes are. But that being said, at some point you just gotta fucking get over it and
Hmm.
just get back into what you do, right?
Like Sharangovich
And
did.
that's right. Yeah, get that goal. Once that goal happens and the confidence, you have to thrive off of the positive. Get that goal. Remember what it feels like. Go and do it again. Right.
Exactly.
Sharon Govich doing 3 games in a row, scoring just beauty goals. He's going to be well on his way now, and you can tell he looks different on the ice. He's got a
And,
swag. He's got his swagger back, which is great. Sharon
and
Govich with swagger is lethal.
lethal and fun to watch. And stuff. I mean, we haven't had a one timer shot like that since Jerome.
Yeah, so that's scary.
Like, how many times did you hear me say we need to go get Patrick Laine so Gaudreau has somebody to pass to? Because I
Right.
envisioned it happening just like Sharangovich, right? Now that has obviously, with all the injuries to Laine, that's aged poorly. So that's a bad take
Sure.
on me. But in theory, I think it made sense. Um,
Well, that's
with
why, in
Kuzmenko
theory, him playing with Gaudreau should have been a beautiful thing, right? In
in
theory,
Columbus, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It baffles me that he couldn't get going. It
yeah, me too.
blows me away.
Um, just last thought on Kuzmenko. He's been playing with Backlund.
Mhm.
You want Backlund starting in the D zone like all the time. Like you
Right.
want him starting in the D zone more than you want any other forward on the entire team starting on the D zone.
Yeah.
And you don't want Kuzmenko starting in the D zone ever.
Mm.
So they got to split those two up. Like, I understand giving Kuzmenko a defensive blanket, but also that means you're starting him in the D zone if you're going to start Backlund there, right?
Yeah.
And it just seems counterproductive to me. Maybe they were just trying to give him the Backlund bump. I don't know, but I think it's time to
I mean, it was worth a
move on
try,
from
but
that.
it's agreed. Yeah, agreed 100%. It was worth a try. I think they should have done it for 3 games, 4 games, and that's it.
Yep.
Just to give him that time with somebody more defensively minded and see what he can turn around with, and just see how it works out. But yeah, they've been doing it for too long now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't know what the ideal situation would be. I do think, and I hate to say this, but I do think that sitting in the press box and having Connie talk his ear off and all that type of stuff for a game or two might really help him.
That would motivate anybody to get back on the ice, wouldn't it?
Right?
I can't take it anymore. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so hard to see that one goal stat beside his name because he's got that potential, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what's going
absolutely.
on. Yeah.
The most exciting thing about Black Friday is getting an amazing deal you wouldn't normally get, except with Raycon, because with Raycon you get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering my viewers up to 30% site-wide. A Black Friday deal you'll appreciate every day. Raycon's Everyday Earbuds. Especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that'll make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover.
Other than that, I don't have a whole bunch more to talk about this episode. What do you got?
I mean, it's super unfortunate that a lot of the fan base is going to miss the live game tomorrow against Columbus, being the 1 o'clock start, which makes no sense to me. I don't know why it's a thing. Most of the American friends and family that I know are working tomorrow as well. But anyways, so that kind of sucks. So I guess we'll have to wait till Tuesday. I think that's going to be a pretty emotional start to the game. With the Gaudreau family coming to Calgary, and good on them for making the trip. I think they're going to be welcomed with open arms, and I think it's going to be a touching ceremony. Certainly won't be missing a minute of that one.
One
It's
thing
almost one
to
of those
keep an
cases where
eye
I'd
on.
rather see that game on Amazon Prime because the pre-game coverage would be way better.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be it'll be an emotional game, and guys like Backlund, who I think is going to thrive off it because I'm sure he's going to start the game in tears because it's longtime buddy of his. Along with obviously Monahan being in Columbus, so it's going to be an emotional game. It'll
I
be
think Rasmus as
two,
well was pretty tight with him.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's going to be there'll be fun games to watch. I think um, I'm excited to see which team shows up for both because in theory we should win both. But we do know how the Flames have faltered against lesser teams in the past.
Columbus hasn't been
As
nearly as bad as you'd think they would be this year either, and I think
no, I
that
know.
a
Yeah,
lot of it's from that emotion.
I think so too. Yeah, it's a thing, right?
Yeah,
It's definitely a thing. It can motivate you. It can do weird things with you. Um,
I think one
I
thing
know
to
that
watch out
firsthand.
for on Tuesday when the Blue Jackets come to Calgary, I think one thing to watch out for is the arena and the fans and everybody giving Monahan a big cheer. It's going to
Mhm.
happen. It's probably going to happen several times during the game. And the guy might be quiet and a little awkward sometimes, but he's been known to wear his heart on his sleeve, and I feel like that's going to be big.
Yep, yep, I agree. I agree. And like I said, the Gaudreau family coming in because I believe it's not just going to be um, mom and dad. I think it's going to be the whole group, from what I understand, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome, and so it's going to be great. So obviously everybody don't forget to tune in for that. That's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Friday's game, we'll see what happens. It won't be the same emotional game. If you're able to tune in, I'll probably have it on my phone while I should be working or am working. That's what I mean. And then but we had Saturday 5 o'clock against Pittsburgh, I believe, right?
Yeah.
These East games are killing me. Rush home. I guess Saturday I'm not working, but rush home to make sure you get to the game. At least they've been playing them at 5:30. They've given us that extra 30 minutes, which has been nice.
Yeah.
Not sure why they've been doing it, but we'll take it. That being said, I think the Flames need to really start thinking about getting the puck in the net because we're in a good position to have a surprising season and effectively year one or /2 of a rebuild. We've seen some really fun situations happen with surprises from players. A couple of young guys. Coronado, for instance, it's been great watching him progress, especially since he came back from the last time from his little stint in the A. So that's been fun to watch. Wolf, I will 100% give him credit where it's due. I know I've harped on not thinking that he was ready for the NHL or anything like that for quite a while. He has proved me wrong this season so far. Obviously, it's still a long season, so hopefully he continues that play. He's been really good. It's been exciting. The whole team at times have been exciting, right? We're faster for the most part, and that's just from addition from guys like Coronado who really busts his ass out there, and it's that energy is it leads out on into other players, and you can tell. Lomberg with how much effort he puts in, it just makes everybody want to try just that little bit harder. It's funny that that's one of the lines we didn't even talk about, and the last couple of games they've just been terrible. But
Yeah, they had a really, really, really rough game. I think it was against Ottawa. It was
Ottawa
like
was bad, and
their first shift. I remember sitting on the couch. I was being like, that is the first time that I can honestly say that they were really bad, and that was they were hemmed in that entire shift, and then that kept happening every time they were out there that game, and it was tough to watch. But it's a fourth line, right? That surprising it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the purposes, your energy line, right? Your fourth line, you're supposed to be able to hem them in for a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
With
Maybe not
physical
get all
play and strong forecheck and stuff like that. Rooney, I think, is trying to take on too much. He really looks like he's trying too hard to do something, like be the spark and whatnot. He's flying around out there, but he doesn't seem to have control over what he's doing right now. And it's unfortunate because he's a decent player. He's a decent fourth line player. I do like watching him on there, and I don't mind having him on the team. But he needs to get his act together. He's been around the league long enough where he knows that what he's doing isn't kosher. Right? He's been falling over a lot and setting himself up for awkward hits. I think he's going to get himself injured again if he keeps it up, and I don't want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that either. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty emotional week for Flames fans and Blue Jackets fans, and the Gaudreaus and Monahans and all of that.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
It's going to be good, and yeah.
Do you think they're going to raise anything to the rafters on Tuesday?
No.
No. Okay.
Do you?
I think there'll be a big tribute of some sort. I think potentially 13 might go up.
I mean, I can see it happening, and I could see why. My whole thing is just wait a bit.
Sure.
next
Yeah,
year,
like
year
obviously
after, something like that.
you'd have to be a real asshole to come into Calgary and want to skate around wearing 13, right?
Yeah, nobody's gonna do it, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't
how
think they
long
would
did it
allow
take
it.
them to retire some of the other numbers, and nobody ever wore those ones, right? Like,
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
situation, obviously, but and if anybody did want to wear 13, it wouldn't be like oh, I'm better than Johnny or anything. It would be like a tribute, like a Caulfield or something like that. Somebody who's wearing it because Johnny
and
was their hero, and you know,
sure.
something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think
if
they
we
would
ended
do
up
it in
trading
Calgary though.
for if we ended up trading to get Monahan back here, then obviously he could wear 13.
I
You
don't
know what
think
I
he'd
mean?
want to, but yeah.
I don't think he would either. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, but that type of scenario, I think anybody else coming in here, I don't think people aren't going to do that.
No.
And I don't think Backlund would allow it. Like I think it would just yeah, I think it's a non-issue personally,
I
but
don't think Connery would allow it.
fair. Yeah, fair. Yeah, for how hard he had to fight to get him here from Boston.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I do think that it will go up eventually. I
Mhm.
just don't think it'll go. I think this game upcoming should be, and like the celebration should be to help the family,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then, a couple years down the road, when it's not, bring it back. Remind
Yeah.
everybody of the tragedy, remind everybody of the good times, bring the family back, raise that to the rafters in a couple years time, and
Yeah.
then
Celebrate
it
it.
can be more of a celebration and less of a sadness.
Good point.
That's the way
Yeah.
I look at it anyways. I mean, it's always going to be
That's,
sad, but
yeah, yeah. 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 Good point. Well, should we leave it there?
yeah, make sure you check out Rocky Mountain Maniacs. They wrote our theme song, our intro song, and our outro song. So check them out on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. Local Calgary band. If you ever see them playing around the city, make sure you go check them out.
They've been busy. If you follow them on social media, they've been really busy the last little while. Yeah,
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 they play
they're playing
lots.
all over the place. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so do that. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, all that stuff that we're obligated to say. Um, and cheers, go Flames, go.
go Flames.